W33BY, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
To help them brew a more robust life. But before we get started with today's show, I'd like an opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Cathy Mott, and I am the CEO and president of my own executive consulting and coaching company. I am also a professional certified coach. I'm certified through the International Coaching Federation, and I am also a social and emotional intelligence coach, certified through the Institute for Social and Emotional Intelligence. I am an experienced consultant and trainer. I've trained over 3,000 people on what it means to be engaged in life mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And I am a blogger. You can join my blog at brewingcoffeewithcathy.com. It is a community of women where we come together and support one another through life's ups and downs. So that's a little bit about me professionally, but let me tell you about myself personally. Since I am a life coach, I think you should know that as well. I am the wife of 33 years to a very supportive husband, Tony. I am the mother of three grown people, and I am the Grammy of seven grandbabies, six boys and one little girl. And I got to tell you, that little girl, she's a feisty little something. She can hold her own. My definition of success is healthy relationship with oneself, healthy relationship with God, and healthy relationship with your family, your colleagues, your coworkers. Yes, I believe in loving your neighbor as yourself. My mission statement is I want people to feel God's love through me. And what I mean by that, I mean that after you spent time with me or have occupied a space and time with me, that you walk away feeling that there's something special about her. And upon further investigation, you find out I'm a Christian woman. So that is my mission statement. So let's talk about the subject of our show for today. Today we will talk about emotional intelligence. And in particular, we're going to focus on the emotion of anger. So you might be saying, well, what is emotional intelligence? Well, it is all the rave in corporate America. I travel throughout different organizations doing leadership development training, and I train individuals on emotional intelligence. And I feel like this information should be available to everyone. So emotional intelligence, you can, if you're interested, you can buy this book. It's called Emotional Intelligence 2.0, and there's also an assessment that you can take in the back. But a little definition, there's a quote in the book that somewhat describes it, and the quote is by Aristotle. It says, anyone can be angry. That's easy. But to be angry with the right person at the right time, to the right degree, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that's not always easy. Because anger often causes us to react instead of respond. So, my definition of emotional intelligence is being able to have an emotion in the moment, call it out to yourself, validate that emotion, Know why you're feeling that way. Manage yourself and be able to manage the social setting that you're in at the moment. So let's talk a little bit about anger. Anger, a lot of times people will react to anger instead of respond. So we live in a society where there's songs like, and I'm not sure who sings this song, but they say, I'll bust the windows out your car. Okay? That definitely is a reaction to anger instead of a response. So, what we talk about, or the principles of emotional intelligence, is being able to calm yourself and be able to respond to anger instead of react. So, whenever I'm teaching something, I always ask myself, when did this happen in the Bible? So, anger is a sign that someone has crossed your boundaries. And you need to do something, either have a conversation or take some kind of action to reestablish those boundaries. And so in the Bible, I think about how God was consistently angry with the nation of Israel because they consistently crossed his boundaries of what was right and wrong. And so what did he do? He sent a representative to have the conversation, the crucial conversation to reestablish those boundaries. So, a lot of times when we're angry with someone or we may feel disrespected in a conversation and we're angry, someone has crossed our boundaries and we need to have the conversation to reestablish it. But in my interaction with people, I find that most often people don't want to have the conversation because either they're afraid or they don't have the skill set to do it. And so instead of speaking with the person that they feel has disrespected them or they're angry with, they'll speak to other people about it and it never gets resolved. So emotional intelligence will help us to be able to have that emotion, validate it, respond appropriately in a social setting to bring about peaceful situations. Okay, so I do have three guests with me today, and we are going to take a deeper dive into emotional intelligence and have a discussion, and we're going to take a deeper dive into the emotion of anger. So, if you haven't had a chance to grab your cup of coffee yet, I encourage you to do so and join me back in 2 minutes as we continue our discussion on emotional intelligence. Welcome back, Detroit. I am sitting here with what I like to call my three sons. and we are going to talk to them about emotional intelligence and anger. And the reason I'm sitting here with my three sons is because my son in law, Stephen, has said to me over the years and me working with women, he says, "You're always working with women." He says, "What about men? We have something to say too." So, yes, so I have invited my three sons on the air with me, and we're going to talk about emotional intelligence and anger. So, before we start, I'd like for you guys to introduce yourselves to our audience. So, Stephen, tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, thank you. Like you said, my name is Steven. I'm married to your oldest daughter, which will be 12 years this December.
Time has flown
Yeah.
by.
Wow.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I appreciate how warmly you guys accepted me into the family. Positive or purposeful positive thinking was a new experience to me, and it's been quite a journey, learning a lot about myself, how to communicate with others, and basically manage my emotions. As far as my
What's your definition of success?
definition of success is setting personal goals and achieving those.
Very nice, very nice. All right, Richard, tell us a little bit about yourself and your definition of success.
Of course, my name is Richard. I'm the newest addition to this wonderful family.
Welcome.
And I've been married to your daughter for almost a year now. And I'm the proud father of two beautiful boys. And my definition of success is everyone should have their own personal definition. I don't feel like it's wealth or fame. I think it's your own personal goals and reaching those goals and making progress towards happiness or whatever it is your goal is.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, and this is TJ, my son. Introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, I am the original son, but I'm glad to have two brothers now. I grew up as the only boy in the family for quite some time. But as mentioned, my name is Anthony. I am a husband. I'm a father of two wonderful kids. Very rambunctious, so to speak. Very strong personalities. And for me, what success means is a constant journey. And as Richard mentioned, everybody has their idea of what success is to them. And I feel like as long as we're setting goals and striving to achieve them, then that is a successful person to me.
Ah, very nice, very nice. Okay, so the next question I have for you guys is, prior to our conversations about emotional intelligence and preparing for the show, had you ever heard of emotional intelligence before?
No, like I said, we had a lot of conversations, and no, I never thought about it as a thing that that you could be emotionally intelligent.
What about you, Richard?
I agree, not at all. I mean, honestly, emotional intelligence, when I first heard it, I'm thinking, like, what is the world and came up with now? But prior to, our conversations, not at all.
And what about you?
I'm going to have to go in line with everybody else. I mean, the term is self-explanatory. And even though you and I, throughout the years, have had numerous conversations about our emotions, the whole idea of it was new to me. I thought I knew what it was. But I've really learned more recently what emotional intelligence actually is.
Yeah, and it's so very important. In fact, studies show that it's 4 times more important than IQ, your intellectual intelligence, in determining what your success will be. 4 times more important than IQ. It's huge.
Yeah.
And yet
Yes.
only 36% of people can accurately articulate their feelings and function well in social settings. It's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about the emotion of anger. So as you were growing up, when and where did you learn how to deal with anger, and what messages did you receive about anger, if you will?
That's a deep question. As far as when, I feel like I didn't learn how to deal with anger until I was an adult. I didn't. There was never a conversation where mom and dad sat down and said, "This is what anger is and how to deal with it." It just, I saw it as a child, or I felt it as a child, and felt powerful, or I would see others and attached it to power. But later in life, I discovered that it's actually more attached to weakness, or I thought it was, because of the erratic behavior and being uncontrolled.
Sounds like the Incredible Hulk.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy.
All right. What about you, Richard?
Yeah, we never learned about anger. You like he said, you always felt it, and it was always something that it was uncontrolled. But the message that I received about anger growing up is to repress it, you know, and to let it go. Because if you act out in anger, you know, normally you get in trouble. There's some consequences. So, but even still to this day, as an adult, I'm still, you know, learning about anger and dealing with it.
And so when you were little, how did you deal with it?
Like me and my brothers, my cousins and our family, you know, somebody makes you angry, you know, you roast them, play the dozens. You know, you let them have it. You know, they say something, you call them a name, you big head, this, that, and you just lash out. So that's how we dealt with it.
Yeah, and that's how, growing up as a little girl, that's how we dealt with it. We played the dozens, and it was so funny at the time. But as you get older and you having run-ins with people and quote unquote telling them off, and as I got older and I started taking the life and ministry of Jesus more seriously, I didn't want to be that person. And so then I went to the opposite end of the spectrum where I didn't say anything, and then that led to depression. And so as coming out of that, I had to learn how to be able to articulate and say what I want to say and reestablish those boundaries, but yet build healthy relationships at the same time. Very nice. Okay, TJ.
My experience with anger has probably been a little bit different because typically I've always been calm and collected. I'm a very emotional person, but I didn't have experiences with people who were truly angry probably till I became an adult. And one day I woke up and I was like, wow, why is the world so angry? You know, it's a prominent emotion now. But the more that I learn and have experiences on the day-to-day with people who are angry, I learned that there's certain things I can't control. The only thing that I can control, though, is how I respond to it. And throughout the years of talking to you and being coached by you as a child all the way up to a young man, it's really helped. And so my experiences now, I find that I'm able to deal with a lot of life circumstances without letting them get to me or allowing myself to become angry or be controlled by anger. I think that's the biggest thing. Anger makes you a slave to it. And I would never want to be, or I wouldn't be fond of being a slave to something and not having control over my own thoughts and actions.
And I love that you said that, because anger can be a healthy emotion. We just don't have to be enslaved to it. You know, we can respond appropriately, because if someone crosses our boundaries, it's okay to have the conversation. It's okay to let people know, hey, you know, I felt disrespected when you said that. I was hurt when you said that. It's okay. So it can be a healthy emotion. Okay, so all three of my sons has taken the assessment in the back of the Emotional Intelligence 2.0. And so let me ask you a question. Were you surprised with your test results?
Very much so. Like we've had coaching sessions and I've had personal therapy, and I thought I came so far, which I have in retrospect, but the scores were so low compared to what I expected them to be. So I was very disappointed initially.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. I you know, the scores after I took the test, and I didn't really expect anything, but when I got my scores back, I'm like, wow, it didn't seem right. But after, like Stephen said, talking to you, and there were things that you helped me with in the past, I can, you know, better understand my score and see, like, yeah, maybe I am, you know, those numbers. But yeah, I was definitely shocked.
Okay. And what about you?
Oh boy, yes, I was definitely shocked. For a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm like, I thought I was smart. I really did. Anybody who knows me knows that I think that I'm smart. And then the other thing was, I'm like, I've had years of practice, you know, being emotionally aware. And so when I saw my scores, I was really actually surprised, because I thought I knew more than I actually did. And it kind of changed the way that I view me being an emotionally intelligent person or emotionally aware to situations and people around me. So I was quite surprised.
Well, I'm happy to tell you that your scores are average.
Oh.
So you guys are down on yourself, but they're average. Like when I go throughout different organizations and administering the test, they're average. But they can be improved over time with coaching and self-awareness. So don't beat yourself up too much about it, okay? They can be improved.
I'll be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about the emotion of talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we did. We crossed
Okay.
that first one.
Okay. So, when you look at your test scores, when would you have liked to have had this information in your life?
Definitely in adolescence, because that's the period I feel like I personally, or everyone really, starts learning about themselves, and you stop associating yourself with just your parents. You stop becoming just a kid. You become an individual. So it'd be nice to learn, and as you get these feelings, be how to deal with them appropriately.
Yeah, yeah. It's been said that the changes that young people go through during puberty are so difficult as been compared to what women go through as menopause. And the difference is women have a support group, whereas young people, they kind of pull away from their parents and they really don't have a support group. And so how nice it would be to be able to do the emotional intelligence assessment on young children or adolescents. Very nice, Stephen.
Well, I would like to have it even before adolescence because I had a problem with repressing my feelings and my anger. So I feel like even if I were to had it before then, because when I became adolescent, everything just compounded. So whatever I was feeling just became more intense. So I felt like if I would have had the training before then, I would have been better equipped to deal with my adolescence.
Wow. I am working with a couple of school districts and trying to be able to go in and teach emotional intelligence.
That'd be nice.
And I have landed it with one school district to teach it. So I'm working on it. I'm working on
That'd
it.
be fortunate for the high school students.
Yeah. What about you, TJ?
I feel like it should be a continuous process. I mean, throughout your entire life. But for me personally, it probably would have been most effective for me in my late teens and early 20s. That transition period where you go from being still considered an adolescent, thinking you're an adult, to actually being an adult. Because now you're forced to make adult decisions and you're put into adult situations. And a person that is not able to manage their emotions effectively may always or may allow themselves to always make decisions based on emotion. And sometimes the decision may not require that. So I feel like it's very important. Like I said, it should be a continuous process. But for me, in my early 20s, when I thought I was a man.
Very nice, very nice. Okay. And so, I go through different organizations and I'm teaching this to leaders of organizations. So they may be in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, sometimes 60s. So, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, because I feel like you guys are all leaders in your family, and most of us in life are leading something. We all need leadership training to help us successfully navigate through life.
Yeah.
Okay, so what will you do with the information that you've learned about yourself?
My highest test score was self-awareness, so I want to implement that more and making more consistent, good decisions. So I want to finish the book because I just got started on that, and then use other techniques that I've gained through coaching sessions with you, and just implement them consistently.
Okay, wonderful. Richard, how will you use the information in helping you and lead your family?
Well, after finding out that my scores are average, okay, that I can better, make more progress with dealing with my emotions, especially with dealing with my feelings. Because a lot of times we experience things or we experience feelings, and it trickles out to, the people around us. So with, two boys, who will eventually be men, and, my loving wife, I would like to be better aware of myself and my emotions and better deal with my emotions so that I can make proper decisions and to be the best, leader for my family.
Oh, that's awesome. Take care of my baby. What about you, TJ?
I have some of the same sentiments. My biggest thing is everyone knows I'm real huge with my kids and training them to grow into, credible members of society. But also to be able to manage their own emotions. I have a little girl and a son, so dealing with them are completely different. The way that you would manage a little girl's feelings is different than managing a little boy's. So the information that I take in, I'll probably curtail and put my own little spin on it, but that's my focus, to work with them and to help raise them the best way that I can.
Wow, awesome. Oh, thank you. I feel so blessed to have you guys with me today and to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much for sharing
Oh,
yourself.
thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Alrighty, at this time, audience, we are going to go to another commercial break as I say goodbye to my three sons. I'm so proud of all of you. If it's time for you to have a warm up and warm up your coffee, you can do so at that time. And join me back in 2 minutes as you take a commercial break and see who my supporting sponsors are. I'll see you in 2 minutes. Welcome back, Detroit. Uh, this has been such a great show. So at this time, it is time for our self-care challenge. So last month, I gave you the self-care challenge of journaling. I asked you to go out and buy a journal and journal at least for 21 days. 21 days makes a habit. And I have been journaling for about the past 17 years, and it has been very helpful in helping me to learn to articulate my emotions and become emotionally intelligent. I know when my mom passed 2 years ago, it was very helpful during the grief process for me. So that was last month's self-care challenge. If you have taken the self-care challenge, email me at coffeewithcathy@gmail.com and let me know how it has gone. And if you're interested in being able to take the emotional intelligence assessment and be coached on your results, you can also email me at coffeewithcathy.com. But this month's self-care challenge is meditation. Take a few moments and sit with yourself in silence and meditate. And if you find this is a struggle, there is a fabulous website that can help you. It's called headspace.com, and it is guided meditation that will help you sit and just do some deep breathing and learn to sit in silence and meditate on maybe the scriptures or nature, whatever, but learn to sit with yourself in the silence. I always say great things happen in the silence. Okay, that's it for this month's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And if there's a particular topic you'd like for me to discuss on my show, you can email me at coffeewithcathy.com. I'm sorry, coffeewithcathy@gmail.com. Have a fabulous day, and thank you for joining Sip Coffee with Cathy.